All right, so let's get it straight. All right. Oh boy. Hey, family. Good afternoon. It's your brother, Melvin Jackson. Welcome to the Anchor Club. We're running a little behind schedule, so bear with me, please. There's a few last minute things I had to do to get things straight. Um, we're getting better. By the grace of God, we will get better. We'll get to where we need to go, and because of the love of our Father, man, we got work to do. Once again, welcome back. This is the Anchor Club. I'm your host. My name is Melvin Jackson. I'm your brother. I'm my brother's keeper. I'm a reminder. Well, I got a lot of hats. I'm a messenger for the most powerful one on this very earth that we're talking from. Uh, Welcome to the Anchor Club. If you're new here and it's the first time you're joining us, welcome. Let this not be the last time you hear your brother's voice, because we bring our voices of reasoning. We do our math. We're grounded in the reality. Your brother is grounded, is anchored onto our Father that teach us what we need to know. If you will, I'll do my best to be a bridge that separate us from the most. Oh man, from our Father. We got to get back. We got to go back home. Home is in here. Here, the consciousness. This is our makeup. We're here to address those things. We feed every other part of us when we're lost and we don't feed the most important. Well, your brother's here to do the best I can to shine a light on that, because these are things that we need to hear, see, and know. Once again, you know how I feel about my brother and my book, boy. So I'm gonna show it again. I'm gonna show it and show it and show it. Show it, excuse me. And I hope the author, is alive. Daniel LaRoche, if I'm pronouncing it right, MD. I hope he is. Uh, for obvious reasons. But remember, when we come, there's a time to come and there's a time to go. Our Father explains that to us, and our history shows it to us. Those are hard facts of life, but those things we can't control. We're not meant to control that. That is in control of our Father. Our destiny. Sometimes I'm torn between what I'm here to do and what I want to do. I get distracted so easily. Oh man, there's so much to this life, and respectfully, I say that because those stages, they're important to us, and we have to go them stages. Again, I liken it to school. We got to go through stages of school to learn, and like life, we have to go through stages of life to learn. And in the process, we see so much sometimes. I'd have to say, for one that's been confused for a long time, I won't say we have to be confused, but sometimes it could be confusing. And those of us that's blessed, that's able to unravel a few things, almost like a detective that look for leads. It guides us. It life tells a story to us. Sometimes we got to be able to sit still long enough to see the story, to know the story, and to realize the story that you're reading, hearing, and looking at is you, right? How could that be? Life is like that. Life got good moments, bad moments, moments we choose to forget, and moments we choose to cherish. Excuse me. Sometimes you hear me. Sometimes that's not a good thing about eating and not digesting your food properly and trying to do too many things. So sometimes I'm up here regurgitating. So please bear with me. I apologize for that. But back to the subject. You know, this weekend I had a family event and I was around my family, and it was a lot happening because it was a wedding. My niece got married. I watched my brother walk her down the aisle. I myself have two daughters, and my daughters is oh boy, I as any father, it almost go without saying, but I will say, man, they, those are my girls, man, and we grew up together. Literally, I was 18 years old when I had my first daughter. We literally grew up together. Sometimes we had distance between us, but time still, the clock still runs. Sometimes we take life for granted because we really don't know how long we're here for. Some of them things I think it's good for us to know, and sometimes I think for myself, sometimes some things I'm so busy living life. Life isn't meant to just sit there counting the moments. Let's get that out the way. I recognize time. Sometimes I don't know the importance of time in the overall. I watch the clock tick away, and it seems like I'm still in the same place at the same time. And so sometimes I don't give time as much credit, if you will, as it deserves because you hear expressions: time is short, time to do, time. Time plays a role in our life. Let me come back to my story, but um, I was able to spend a lot of time with my daughter in the younger stages. Um, and there were times, here we go again, um, when I didn't see her every day and didn't notice or see everything of her growth until the next time I seen her. And when I seen her, naturally I look her over and hug her, and because I miss her so much. And now it's them because it's two of them girls of mine. And but I'm speaking to one and watching the process sometimes go by, and time shapes her like time shapes us sometimes, where we fit in, if you will. And then sometimes we place ourselves where we believe we fit in. Sometimes all of those different things don't always match up. It's like having going through a phase of one thing, and then when you rid yourself, something else comes. So life is showing you this direction, that direction. Um, I want this today. That's boring tomorrow. Um, I want to go here. I want to go there. We are consumed for what we see in front of us, and I liken sometimes life to like a candy store. Everything in it is not good. Certainly, everything in it is certainly not good for your health. Uh, but we don't perceive them things at certain points. When we look back and see sometimes the things that did when we were younger, I'll speak for myself, and you think for yours. I took chances. I did things. I look back and I said, "Man, that could have went wrong. I mean, real wrong." And what would have came of that? What would have happened? And then my thinking stops it because it didn't happen. Thank God. Suppose when I was just started driving, I used to drive fast because I wanted to see what it felt like. And then when I felt it and I liked it, I wanted to do it. But of course, reasoning behind it says, no, no, come on now. You got to attach responsibility to that driving. That's driving school, driving a permit and license, if you will. And then you make adjustment with those things. You may have a little road that you could speed up a little and feel it and still be safe to stay under a certain limit. Sometimes, and I'll say this, one time with one car, I recall wanting to know what it felt like to go 100 miles an hour. We're talking a minute ago. So I can't tell you exactly where it was. I'm hoping to myself, I like to think, because I was called to feel and want to feel and do those things. Um, and then at that point, after I experience, I can pick if it's for me, if it's not. And life is like that sometimes. But back to that particular story, I remember taking the car at whatever distance that I claimed to be safe at times that time to do it was, whether it was an open road, a real straightaway, and I could feel what it you know feel like for that kind of speed. I can't do that in the street for obvious reasons, and I can't do it in a closed area. At least my testing was, because if I went out of control, I'm afraid that I don't want to hit something. I don't, So I did it where I felt like it was appropriate. It wasn't a racetrack. But let me get on with the story. I felt 100 miles an hour for a short period of time, and then naturally I reduced. And then I felt 100, and I felt the rush. What I didn't like it, or what I didn't, excuse me, what I didn't, I get excited. What I didn't like about it is when my thoughts said, this has to be controlled, because if it's not, and I lose control at that speed, I'm afraid of I'm afraid of even thinking what would come of that. I might walk away with a broken limb, or get into a crash and now I'm in a wheelchair. I mean, those fears with that speed, two and two was four. And so I minimize those things. On the road, every now and then I got my car set at 80, just so when I'm driving, because sometime in the car you don't feel it. And just so I don't get a ticket and stay within the rules, I don't want to go through any of that nonsense. When I want to go from A to B, I want to go do what I want to do and do it responsibly. And a lot of these things that I want to come back with, comes with the responsibility. Part of the enjoyment is the restraint. Can I do it like that? The restraint says the responsibility has to be met. Otherwise, I'm taking a chance. What do you mean taking a chance? If something don't go right with what I'm doing, I can be hurt. Like I said before, I could hurt somebody else. I could hurt somebody close to me. So after a while, it becomes common sense. Like I said, when I'm driving the road at 75, between 75 and 80, when it's clear enough to do it, when traffic is tight, I reduce speed because there's nowhere to go. I mean, when I'm going to crash my car, crash somebody up, the whole idea is for me to go to A to B as safe as I can. It's common sense. But sometimes when we're not mature enough, you think, come on now, here we go. This is leading us right where we need to go. You have to some extent, think inappropriate to your age. Whether it's 19, 20, 21, 22, I don't have to name it all. But to that experience of that number suggests, it gives you an area of at least something to compare to in terms of thinking. So when you were little, you didn't think much because you weren't able to put things together. When you matured and got bigger and 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 grew, if you will, um, things became different. When you looked at that before from an amateur standpoint, if you don't mind me using that word, it was one thing. Now you look at the same thing from a mature standpoint, it's the same thing, but your thinking is different. It's called maturity. No, I don't do that no more. No, I don't take chances on that. No, no, sometimes I use that word battle tested because life is gonna happen. And 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 the better you align yourself with the narrative of what could happen, you have a, if you will, you have a good chance of that control opposed to not. Because if you don't, then you follow where that take you. And where it land is where you're gonna land. It's common sense. I'm sorry, I would never talk down to you because I don't like being talked down to. But sometimes our mentality, mental state, or the earlier part of understanding gives us a comparison. So sometimes we got to go back to as far as we need to go back to put two and two together so that light comes on. We have to we have built-in memory like a computer. All of that came into play not because somebody just sat there and said, "Let me create a memory." No, God is the maker of memory. They're a copy of my Father. All of these new things that we see in front of us, some good and some not good, but they come from the brain that God gave us. We're not independent of that. I don't fool myself to that. Yeah, I don't, no, it holds the argument to do things happen for a reason. My reason is say yeah, yes, excuse me, based on what no, what wow, listen to that, what I know. Those are the things that provoke me to higher levels of thinking because when things when things don't sit well with me, I look for a better understanding of what I'm trying to understand. That's again, that's who I am, and certainly that's who I want to be. I was around my family for this wedding. Just 3 days almost seemed like a fog because it was so many different things going on. Back at the family picnic, I spent literally the last 4 days with my family that I don't see every day. I was seeing them in the morning. I was seeing them in the afternoon. We spent literally, if you will, 4 days in each other's company. We made up, if you will, for the times that we didn't see each other because we know each other. Bring me to some parts of what I think a good aim or a topic today is. It's about family reunion. It's about us. It's about us getting in touch and staying in touch and not allowing time to divide us. It's fair because everybody has to have their own life. That's the great part of life. And we all live in that space of ours. And everybody to their own, if you will, when you're old enough to be independent and be on your own. Everybody have different interests. Everybody, life is a candy store. And when we're bought in the store, um, if you will, when you're old enough, nobody's holding your hand anymore. So you're allowed to wander through that store and see. This is obviously a depiction, and see what's interesting, what you like looking at, what you don't like looking at, what you like touching, what you don't like touching. All of these things are there for the freedom of our choice. Like I said, everything is not for everybody. We have to go through that store and pick and choose things that we believe not only that we're interested in, we call those the things for us, and see where they fit. Sometimes we're talked into trying this, trying that, almost like food. Somebody say, "Oh, this is something." Oh no, I don't like that. No, don't. Just take a little taste of it and see what you think. You taste it. That I tasted a nice piece of lamb the other day, not to go into a big story, and I didn't think for the moment I wanted something in my mouth, but my daughter insists, "Daddy, please taste it, just taste it." And when I tasted it, it brightened my eyes real quick, like, like this is good. Like, what's this? Who's this? Who made this? Blah blah blah. Anyway, so I'm just using that as an example to say sometimes when we're not in the mood to taste something, somebody can sometimes provoke us to do it. And sometimes it's excuse me, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's good because now you're open. As I was going about my way, I still had that taste in my mouth, and it I'm being a little silly here, but bear with me. And as I was going to whatever I was doing, when I turned from my daughter, I went to talk or whatever, I still had the taste in my mouth. And I'm chewing it as I'm doing whatever I had took my attention to do. And then I said to myself, when I get a chance, I'm gonna go back there and get some more of that. What I just had, it was good. Sometimes, like life, somebody can bring something before us. We think, give me an example. You think, oh, I'll say you, yeah, you're a part of this too. You think that you don't have a taste for it at this moment, or you don't like it, or you heard about it, but you're not pushed to it, and you try it. And that's where you get to the point where you could have said to somebody when they tried to give you something to taste, you said, "Oh no, no, I tried it, but I didn't like it." But yeah, 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 thanks anyway. So you narrow what you like. Life is like that. We pick and choose. We share information back and forth between ourselves. Sometimes we're encouraged to go further or go in that direction, and sometimes we're discouraged, depending on what we're talking about. So, with those things put together, man, it brings me back to the importance of my family, man. Like I said, everybody's going in their own direction right now. And that's life. And it should be, because life is meant to live. And everybody have a right to enjoy whatever it is. One like flying, the other one like taking the train. One don't like taking the train, the other one like driving. All of those different options we have, because we're the same as such. We're family, but we're individuals that make up the family. Oh boy, this is, I know, is not going to take a little more time. I'm not even really touching the subject yet. Excuse me. And in the midst of all of this, the talk of today is us killing each other. It's so hard. It's hard to wrap your fingers or your hand around it. It is crazy and it's wrong. It is self destruction, and here we go again. We share the earth and we try to avoid the best we can, man. Those foxholes. There's holes in the ground. If you're liking it as you walk in, there's holes in the ground. And the more that you pay attention, maybe the more you see. Life isn't life shouldn't be so disruptive to a part where you can't enjoy the freedom of your heart. That's what God gave us. But here we are, man. Come on now. Here we are. And we're sharing the same space, man. Everybody's not going the same. We're going the same direction, but we're not going the same place. That's a whole nother topic by itself. But the closer I look at them things, man, and I'm saying, because different people want different things in life. Collective as a people, for a people that have been stripped of their language, their name, and their heritage, is that game we used to call Blind Man Bluff. You put in the middle of this confusion, and it is anybody's guess what you'll choose. The good thing about you and me, beloved, is we're children of God. Could I say that again? We are the essence that God brought here. And we're led by things. Sometimes we're led by what's in front of us, giving way to there's room. When in Rome, excuse me, do as the Romans do. Those things aren't us, nor should they fit us. It's like walking around with shoes from here to the next building, where we used to call it Bows of the Clown. Yo, those shoes ain't meant for you, and that's not who you are. And you got to get back. You gotta you gotta come back home, man, and you gotta be re-educated because what you bought out of that store is throwing you amok. Is making a fool of you, and you can't catch yourself, and you can't see yourself until you are able to do just that. Because what I'm saying is, when you think it fit, people whisper and giggle behind your back, and you become what's that phrase? A laughing stock. Who wants that? I know I don't want that. I don't want that for myself. I surely don't want that for you. I don't want that for my family. But excuse me, and it opens me up to a reality because we used to say in our house when we grew up, you see something in me before I leave out of here, you straighten me up. We look out for each other. We care about each other. Oh, yo, tie your shoes. Oh, yo, you got something on your hair. Oh, yo, you got something on your face. As small as those things are, all it's suggesting to me, all it shows me is not only that obviously we care about each other, but we look out for each other. And when we see something out of order, we let you know. If you choose to do, if I told you that, here we go, man, that's who I am. I'll give you an example. If we go, excuse me, if we go, if we're family and we're going out the door, like I said, and I tell you, oh, yo, you got it. We was just eating birthday cake. It's just an example. And I said, oh, you got some white cream in your hair. And you say, yeah, I know, leave it there. Or, yeah, I know, I like the way it looked. We look at each other like, huh? Come on, man. No. If when I see when I see things out of order, I suggest you don't know it. So that's why I say it to you. If I'd have said, "Oh, your brother got something on his hair," no, don't tell him. He knows it. Well, you wouldn't walk around like that. I mean, you got to bring common sense in this what we're saying here. When I see you out of order, I gotta call you back to order. If you don't want to be called back to order, that's another story. But I won't go out of your presence and see you out of order and not tell you. That's like you seeing me. And I got downstairs and I said I was in the elevator with all my family, and they didn't see that, and they didn't think enough of me. Never mind themselves now to say, "Oh yeah, by the way, you got this over there." You know how we do? We say, "Come here," and when you come and you say, "Oh man, wait, what you doing with my hair?" No, no, hold still. I'm your brother. I'm not going to mess your hair up. I'm going to take something out your hair. I'll tell you and act to help you to remove whatever it is. A small example, but same thing when it comes to us looking and correcting each other. I got five brothers. We all got personalities. We got similarities through DNA or whatever else you want to call it, through the creation of God from the same source, my mother and father. And then you could have two brothers or two sisters completely opposite. It doesn't always work that way, excuse me. So not only do all of us look alike, but a lot of us up into this day and time, we see in people that know us and around us, they say, boy, y'all, when I see one of y'all, I see all of you. And that's just the way God made us to be. Getting back on point, doing harm to each other, man. We have to do. We're obligated for our family and for 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 civilized people to see um, what we're doing today is not good. It needs to change. It almost sounds like how did we get here? Excuse me. But like I said, we see all that this confusion in this candy store, and it's not hard to figure out um, why we see and do what other people do, and we pick it up for whatever our reasons are. Those things we have to do our part for our family. Our history, our very, very, very history speaks of who we are. Who we are. Majority has a request and it want to know if you know who you are. I know who they tell you you are. Maybe you buy that. Maybe you buy right into that. That sounds like somebody that's taking somebody else's word for it. I'll speak for me. In my past, I was too lazy to find out for myself. But when you come to a certain point in your life, you gotta start doing some blasted research. You can't keep taking everything somebody tell you to heart. Everybody's not telling you the truth. You gotta search for it. And those that do are rewarded. Otherwise, family, we stay ignorant of the truth. We buy into anything just to fit. It's sad and it's not good for the obvious reason. We need to know who we are before we start to act like who we should be, if you will. We again, I use those same words and I have to. There's no substitute. But we need to be with who we need to be, but not at the price of somebody else. Our day and age, we used to say, man, if you don't want to do your due diligence, man, you want to cop out, you're a dropout. And a dropout, we know what a dropout is. A dropout is when we see us in the street, not at our best. And I'm not talking about somebody that we don't have mercy on, our own family, for whatever reason, couldn't carry their lot or their load. And we look at them and they come to the car window and they're begging. You know, we got a heart. I got a heart. And I'll help you when I can. Sometimes even under some questions, and someone said, man, you gave him $1, you gave him a quarter, you gave whatever you gave him. You gave him and he don't do nothing. I wouldn't give him nothing. I hear that harder part of us because sometimes our hardcore thinking said, man, that if you don't get up and eat, then you starve. I mean, come on now. Come on. I love you, brother. I'm your keeper, man. How do I just look at that and be all right with that? Because I measure to that. That's not who we are. That's not who we want to be. Sometimes we have cases that maybe people can't help themselves and they find themselves in a position to beg. Who am I to say who should do what? That's not my job. That's my father's job. That's his job. All I know is what I'm supposed to be doing. And reality, I know what we all should be doing to the extent of doing because we got a life in front of us and we want to all enjoy our life and have things. And we know there's no shortcut to those things. We want something, we can't buy it. We afford what we can and we make that do. Then later down the line, when we're able to get them things, then we're blessed with them. And different things happen that when we get to those things and have them, it's a different feeling when you work for something as opposed to steal it or rob it. We know that don't sit well with us. We don't need a tape recorder locked or taped around our head to tell us all day what's right and wrong. Come on now. Come on, man. Sitting around and taking something that you don't deserve, that somebody worked their ass for, excuse me, please excuse me, worked their butt off to get, and you think you could just take that, enjoy that? You're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself, and you're cheating the family. Because how long could you go with that? You think one day when your life gets straight, that everything's gonna go hunky-dory with you? That the things that you did that people ain't gonna do to you? Damn, you can't have nothing these days. Oh yeah, you forget you used to do that. You forget you used to rob people's stuff and take things that didn't belong to you. But now all of a sudden you on the right track and everybody should come on now. No, man, no, come on now. That's not right, man. That's not right. Your big brother's talking to you. I'm gonna tell you right from wrong, whether you like it or not. Because we need to know that. And if we say we know it, then we'll do it. If you don't do it, then you act like you don't know it. No, not knowing it is more excusable than knowing it and not doing it. Come on now. Let's get at it here and stop it with the nonsense, man. Sometimes we got to get that true love, man. There's a tough love there, man. It's a tough love, and it's wrapped around anger, man. To tell you, you need to get your ass moving. Excuse me. I'm sorry, and I pray that I don't offend anybody. And that kind of talk is not of my father. That talk is my talk. And God, please forgive me. But sometimes I get a zeal, man, for what I'm talking about, man. I get a zeal. Yeah, it's I have my days. Please excuse me. Please excuse me. Because I don't want to get wrapped up so much that I lose the point that I'm trying to drive, man. I'm hoping that I'm not the only one feel like this. In fact, excuse me, I know I'm not. I know I'm not. I know my family, like I know myself, and it don't sit right with me. So I know it don't sit right with all of us. And some of us use it for what we use it for. That's another story. That don't make it right. But we know, man. We know right from wrong, man. We know when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing or not. I could take a brother coming from scratch, living in a shelter because he fell under hard times for whatever reason. My job ain't to judge that. All I know is because I've had moments like that. Sometimes there's a moment to walk to deal without having anything. There's a value to that. It's a value to that because I had moments like that. That's not who I am today. How do I know who that brother is or sister is or a young child out there today doing the very thing that I did? How do I know where God is taking him or her? I don't know that. I don't claim to know that. It's not my job to know that. But what's my job is that I care. And I'm not trading it. I'm not trade. That's not up for negotiation. My care for you, like the care for myself, that's not for sale. What's inside here, you can't buy. I don't care how much money you got. You can't buy that. You can't buy what's in that heart. No more than you could buy what's in that head. Because it's not for sale. We got parts of us that is not for sale. That's between me and my father, and you and your father. Because you didn't wake up and create that. So you're not the maker of that. Our father is. And if you need to be reminded, I'll tell you. You got a father up there that care about you, that look over you. Oh God, why you got me in such a bad place right now. And if there was a God, how could I be here? You're there for a reason. You could question God all you want. Because you know what? My cop out was, don't tell me about no God. Because when I'm going through all the hell that I'm going through, if there was a God, why wouldn't he spare me? Listen to that mindset. Look at that mindset. I want to, come on now. I want to give, excuse me. I want to take, but I don't want to give. We talk about balance here. There's a time to give, and there is a time to take. You can't stay on the take side, and you can, if you want, be on the give side if you got it to give. Blessed is your heart that you care enough, because there's so many selfish people out there that have something and wouldn't give you even when they had enough. Those things was brought to us through scripture. Those things lined up with what we know, to love and cares about somebody opposed to hate and can't stand to be in their company. Come on, man. We know those differences. Here we start with the very basic essence and we work up there. We work it up from there because we got an agreement on what those things are. But we don't kid ourselves. Come on now. When we go to work, we go to work and we recognize and we see. And it takes a and it takes us on a journey sometimes for me to take a even harder look at myself. Because it brings me to phrases that as simple as it sounds, shouldn't you be doing something? That's that's my own ownership towards a given thing. Shouldn't you be doing something? It's simple, but it's a call back to order reminder. And then it make me think, what am I leaving out that I need to do or should be doing? And if it comes to, then I need to get at it. And if it's straight and covered and I don't have to do it, I'll say to myself, relax, I already did that. Or I'm already on it. Or that's already in the process. But my focus goes back to that thing. Training and reminding us back of the simpler things that we need to see, hear, and know in our reality and in our space. Our family, we got to find a way, even if we're not a part of something, it's still something. Younger people, you're around other people. When we were growing up, we know who's who. We hear it. We're in your company. And we don't follow everything you do. Lesson, I fall in the ditch with you. I'm not trying to do that. It's my family, man. I'm not turning against my family. I'm sorry, man. Because then when I use the word you're my friend, what friend would try to convince you to turn against your family? That's a friend? I think you're mislabeling this. It sounds more like an enemy to me than a friend. That's not what I'm about. I'm going another direction. You go, you do what you think you need to do, but I'm not going to do it. And if my family get hurt in the process, I'm sorry, man. You know they got a place for us. You got to pick and choose your company, even as you get older. You got to get over what it is that you find attractive about it, because usually if you don't, then you're not in the company of that. And you're not in that company because that's not who you are. You're going in another direction. We got to pick and choose. We're not going to stop being family because you're trying to divide us. I'll say that to the world. We're going down, we're going down fighting because we're not going to stand there and just allow us to self-destruct. We're not going to do it. It's too many of us out there that's not with this, that we're going to stick together and we're going to make our stance. And we got other fronts out there. And when all our fronts put together, and the biggest source that we got, if you don't know me, then you're going to know me. Because we got a Father, we got a God up there. Up there is up there in the mind. Sometimes I look to the clouds only, realizing behind the clouds is space. And then of infinity. Only God knows what that's all about. But here on earth and inside this head, that's our connection. We gotta protect that because that's gonna guide us. When we go off in the wrong direction, that's gonna bring us back to where we need to be. And that's where we gotta search and that's what we gotta work for. And here at the Anchor Club channel, if you will, this is what we talk about and address. These are real issues. These are things that face us. These are things that we go into tomorrow with a little more than we had today. In terms of up here, to know who you are, to know who your family is, to know what you're trying to do, to keep you on pace and keep trying. Try. I'm a cheerleader. I don't care about that because we try until we do, and we try. And my father said, "Our God said, if you make a step towards me, I'll make one towards you. Test it out. What do we got to lose? The rest of this insanity? You seriously? Come on now, nah, man. We're going in a different way. We're going to fortify ourselves and strengthen ourselves and care about ourselves and protect our family. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. I'm a reminder of us that you're next up. That's like when one is off duty and he's on his way out, the new guard is coming in and he's ready and he's on post and he's on duty and he's standing guard. That's what we do. Because this guy don't go home unless this one come. We always got somebody on guard. I am my brother's keeper. And you are mine. And I depend on you. Don't fail me. Please don't fail me. I'm depending on you. And you're going to depend on me. And I won't fail you. By the grace of my Father, I won't. And so is your sister. And so is your brother. And your cousin and your uncle and your aunt and then your niece. That's our family. That's what we do. Nobody gets between our family. You heard the old phrase? This is family business. When that circle pulled together, if you're not about that, you're in the wrong place. But we are in the right place. We are. If you are, oh man, if you could only match up with me, man. I know you can, and I know some of you will, because we start that thinking wheel going, and that's what we need, man. Because those are reminders, man, of who we are. We always got to know who we are. Research. Get to know yourself, man. Get to know who you are. For those who haven't had the time, you read about this nonsense, you read about that nonsense, and somebody asks you about yourself and your heritage, you don't know nothing. Those are the most important things for you to know. We know about things that don't do us no good. We got to get back to locking in and focusing on the things that's important to us. We got to do our part. Sometimes to just sit there and complain about it's not enough. Search your mind. Be creative. Look, there's so many things that need your attention and our attention as a family. Find your way in there. We're people that got good heart, man. We're people that will raise other people because God gave us that heart. How much more do we do for ourselves and our family? I say it's time for us to start putting focus on who we are and our family and getting better. And we're going to get through. We face tough moments just like we're facing today. And we'll make it through by the grace of God. And I pray that it make us a better people because of it. Beloved, I love you, man. Our family. Excuse me. I love you and I need you. And you are what make me. You make me whole. Without you, it's not the same. So I pray that you get a chance to come back and we come together and we'll see the things that we'll see, hear, and know. But for now, I'd like to thank you for coming. If you feel compelled to hit the subscribe button, that's a way that we could stay in touch. Share and pass the word to other family members, man. We'll meet up again, and by the grace of God, I'll see you again. I love you so much. Listen, love your family. Take care of your family. Take care of yourself. And God willing, I'll see you again. Thank you so much for listening. I love you, family. Peace.